We have joining us now a security expert, Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi, good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome.
Nnamdi Okeke.
No, Nnamdi Okeke. Oh. Really sorry there. I was giving you another name. Nnamdi Okeke. Sorry. And on the phone, we have the Public Relations Officer of Customs, who is joining us. Who'll be joining us shortly as we get along on the show. Now, Nnamdi, let's come to this issue. When you read this, when you saw this breaking news of another cache of arms found, what crossed your mind first?
First, I must say a big congratulations for stepping up in the customs. In the last 5 months, we've actually had this cache of arms intercepted twice. But again, it has a lot of questions begging. Who is importing? Where is he going to? Have some slipped? Is it a question of we're going to have this story die after like 3 months? We don't talk about it again. Then if you look internationally, there are a lot of countries that actually don't actually care if this actually comes into Nigeria. It's nobody's business. Their job is to provide arms, sell it, whether it goes illegal or is legal. They sell it and they make their money out of it. So we are the receiving end of all this, the largest recipients of maybe illegal arms too. So
it's really troublesome, and like you pointed out there, I mean, for every 1,000 small arms and ammunition, pump action in this case, that's discovered, how many gets into the system? And you wonder, is there a link between the upsurge in insurgency that you have going on in the northeast? Of course, there's kidnapping, all kinds of violent activities going on. Well, yes, you may want to congratulate the Nigerian customs, but what about actually preventing this from any businessman? The first question we asked, how is anybody confident that they can actually bring in arms through the legal ports? Isn't that troubling in itself?
Yes, it is. The bad news is already we've taken the back bench as regards security in this country. And that's the reason why we have ports without scanners. So for over maybe 500,000 containers that come into this country, you scan them manually. That's the first challenge. This has existed for some time. So for anybody who is importing, he knows that there's nothing actually to check. He also knows that he may most likely not be intercepted. Remember, it's big business.
It is.
Arms deal is very big business. They will keep coming. It didn't deter them that they had some intercepted in January.
Yes.
It's not going to deter them now. It's going to continue. About $60 billion worth of business.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us, Joseph Atta.
Good morning. My pleasure.
Yes, great. Now, with this latest haul of arms at the seaport in Lagos, many people are already asking, what happened to the first one that happened in January, some 660? What can you tell us about where you are so far with investigations? And some are even saying maybe the NCS was too hasty to put out there in the public this particular arms haul, that you should have done more so that you know the people behind it.
Okay, let me start by saying that I agree with the security expert there, Mr. Nnamdi, that possibly the scanner challenge must have emboldened these criminal elements to think that they can bring this thing undetected. The challenge we are facing in the area of scanners have also intel that the service strengthened its intelligence network, and the result is what we are having. To your question of the 661 pump action rifle seized earlier, what happened was that the service did exactly as we promised. First, we conducted preliminary investigations. Some people were indicted. And of course, as you know, arms seizure falls under strict security regulations. And customs does not have the necessary power to conclusively deal with such issues in terms of prosecutions and all that. So we finished the preliminary investigations and then transferred the deadly cargoes and the indicted people to the DSS for further security investigation and prosecution.
All right, Joseph, let us see this from the concern of Nigerians. You have admitted, even the Comptroller General had admitted that there were challenges with scanners at the time. Is it likely, from your professional perspective, is it likely that some arms would have gone into Nigeria undetected so far?
My brother, it is hard for any person who is first and foremost a Nigerian before being a custom officer or member of any security agencies to just say it is not likely. Of course, you are dealing with human beings. Of course, smugglers are human beings. And there's also possibility that we also have elements within the country who want to connive with this kind of people to beat the chest. You also know that our borders are porous, and that informs the reason for the restriction of importation of some items through the land borders. Yes, it is that likelihood that puts us on the edge. It is that likelihood that have made the service to strengthen its intelligence network. It is that likelihood that makes the service to continuously collaborate with our sister agencies and continue to call on Nigerians to cooperate, to be on the watch, and to provide useful information to the service.
All right, so let me remain with you. It is, of course, public knowledge that you have this challenge with scanners at the seaports. Are you saying then that since January that it was put out there that you have this challenge, there has not been any improvement in the scanners and other facilities that need to be in place to ensure that such arms don't get in?
Oh, concerning the issue of scanners, I can confirm that in a very near future, our borders and seaports will have scanners. I do know that efforts have reached advanced stage. Some people, there have been some consultations, there have been some negotiations, there have been some discussions aimed at providing functional scanners in the very near future.
All right, Joseph, let's put you on hold a little. Let me come to you, Nnamdi. I think the last statement he made is going to get Nigerians even more worried.
Yes.
When he said in the near future, there's going to be, it means no effort is on ground now to ensure there are scanners in at the seaports.
Since January.
Well, that's a bit challenging. With about 6 complex seaports, you'll expect to have, the average cost of a scanner should be about 500 million naira. Average cost of a scanner should be about 500 million naira. And I believe this would deter a lot. We're talking about arms here. We have countries that have been with scanners and they've even advanced beyond scanners to detect what is coming in. So they don't even want it to come in because it could be, in this case, not arms. It could be something radioactive. So talking about scanners at this point is a bit late. As usual, we're taking the back bench. We should have these things already in place. It can't be overemphasized, the need for a scanner. I mean, if you can't repair the ones we have, and as I said earlier, there are a lot of countries that actually earn a lot by having their weapons sold, whether legally or illegally. So they don't really care, you know.
In spite of the UN Arms Sales Treaty that, says that countries should issue or, be tough when it comes to licensing requirements. And I wonder where Nigeria is as far as this is concerned. Let me come back to you, Joseph Atta, on this particular issue. Now, of course, Nigeria has the problem of facing Boko Haram and all kinds of violent actions all across. Is it the Fulani herdsmen attacks and all of that, kidnapping? Now, these arms, when they are intercepted, what do you do with them? Does it get into the arms cache of the Nigerian government? What can you tell us about that?
Well, I just told you earlier that there is a limit to which we go when it comes to it.
The destination of these arms when they are intercepted this way, where do they get to? What use do we put them?
No, and I was trying to respond by saying that I think it is important that I limit myself to what customs does. I did tell you earlier that once we seize arms, we are limited as to its conclusion. For instance, we don't have the necessary law to prosecute such seizures. So we do the preliminary investigations, make our findings, and then hand over the arms and those involved to the appropriate agency. And of course, they will conclude their own investigation and prosecute them and deal with the arms as the statutes of their own agency provide. So I want to limit myself to that. But I want to quickly add that when I use the word in the near future earlier, I do understand the apprehension. Issues of arms is borders on national security. If we had our way, we would have loved that the scanners are functioning and at our seaports and border ports. But that is what it is. I know in this circumstance, a week, 2 weeks, 1 month appears too long when you are talking about security. But the reality is that right now we have challenge with our scanners, and we look forward to the day we have these scanners because they will help us to do our job more effectively and efficiently.
Yes, Joseph, the picture you have painted is clear, and Nigerians got your message, because if at the last time the arms were intercepted and the Director General came out clearly and honestly to say that the scanners at these ports were not working, it's several months ago now, and then we have this one, and we still have the issue of in the nearest future, then Nigerians feel in the next 1 year, 2 years, or even 3 years, something may still not happen. It's a here and there thing. I understand you. It's a here and there thing. Tomorrow can be the nearest future. We know. But let me ask you this. But let me ask you this, Joseph.
We should recommend positivity. We should think positive. We should cooperate. We shouldn't think that it will be so difficult for Nigeria, for the nation to have scanners up to 1 year or 3 years. Let's be positive that we will have this.
Of course. Joseph, Nigerians have been positive over the years, and up to now we know what things are. But let me ask you this question. Now, there are concerns among Nigerians, because you said earlier on that yours is to intercept and hand over to the agency that will follow up with investigations. But is it not right for to the interest of the Customs Service to also, based on intelligence, to follow up with investigation too, to have a knowledge of where the destination of all of these arms go, who is involved, so that it helps you with further, just in case something like this comes up again, so you know how to trace things?
Yeah, you know how this thing goes. I'm speaking to you right now as the PRO of Customs. I need to limit myself to what Customs does. Once something is handed over to another agency, it then means that anything that agency does can be heard or seen through the spokesman of that agency. So I'm just trying to do my job to the limit of the definition of my job. For instance, if something is handed over to DSS, I do not consider it appropriate to begin to answer questions as to what that agency will do with that thing, how it does it, and how it disposes of that thing. Okay. I'm just trying to tell you exactly what we do and how we do it, not how another agency does it.
That answers the question, in fact.
Thank you very much, PRO Nigeria Customs Service Joseph Atta, speaking to us there about this latest arms haul in Lagos. Thank you for your time. And now there's a UN initiative to ban illegal trade of arms by member states. That seems not to be working when you have about 500 million of 800 arms in circulation all across the world, illegal. That's more than 70% of what you have out there.
Of course, making us the largest recipient too. this is what the true position is. Sometime a conference was held in 2002 as regards small arms and light weapons in the United Nations. We had about 192 countries actually sign up for this. They agreed to also give a progress of action report. And by 2013, from the 152 countries that were submitting this, it dropped to 37. Sometime in 2006, we had countries like the US, China, Cuba, Iran, and a few others say they were no more interested, meaning they are completely against the entire process. Wow. Okay, so these are people who produce arms, and they are not interested. It's part of their revenue. They are not interested in making sure it's controlled, really. If it goes to any countries like this, a dump site, come and let's have pump action here. They don't mind. It will still be shipped. So the more
arms out there, the more money they make.
Yes, of course.
That's what's
really
important.
clear.
It's all about
the money. It's all about the Benjamins. All right, Nnamdi Okeke, thank you for coming on the program. Thank you so much. We also thank Joseph Atta for joining us earlier on.